how did you venture from broadcast journalism to sports-specific journalism?
Well, I got into wanting to be a broadcaster through sports. I grew up in St. Louis, and my true hook and love was listening to Cardinal baseball games on the radio. And Jack Buck was the voice of the Cardinals, and I just saw magic in his description of baseball games. And one of 5 kids and my 2 brothers, and we're a very sports-centric family, and I just loved it. My mother wanted me to be a dentist. Yeah, and I wanted to be the center fielder for the Cardinals or play in the NBA. I soon found that neither was likely, but in choosing a profession, it was like, well, I really like sportscasting. I'm listening to the radio, I'm watching TV, and those guys get paid for that, so it's a real job. And so when I decided to go to the University of Missouri, they have a great journalism program, and they have a university-owned NBC affiliate television station that you work at and get on-air experience. But your work has to be news. I had to be a news reporter. So I'm covering like murder trials and, all sorts of controversial political stuff and whatnot. But they said on the weekends, we'll let the students do the sports and the news anchoring, but you gotta do an audition and all that. And I did an audition and they liked it, so I did that. So when I graduated, I sent out, I think, 12 to 20 news reels and 4 or 5 sports reels. And I got a sports job, and that was my goal. And my first job was in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And I tell young people, just get in somewhere, and then you can move up or around however you want to do it. And that's how I got into it.
With broadcast journalism, and was it I'm trying to figure out the correct way to say it, because do you miss being that type of journalist, like where you could go on the street and do like what they called like the beat back in the day, where you would follow a story other than sports, like I don't know, like an earthquake or
right.
Do you look back and go, I would have done it better, I would have done it differently this way? Are you allowed to say that?
No. Can you say that? Of course. I think we're all critics of what we see. I mean, it's very subjective. I mean, we like to think of news, even in sports coverage, as one size fits all, just the facts. But the fact is, everybody brings their point of view into what they think is the best way to present. Like, there could be a car accident out there.
Sure.
You could have 5 reporters file 5 different stories about, with different angles to it. And that's, none of them are wrong, per se. And it's up to the viewer to find who has the most, the best presentation of the facts that make it most clear presentation of what happened, So I say I worked in the toy department in sports. Like, when it came to any of the crime, politics, fires and earthquakes and all that, God bless them, I didn't want to do that. In fact, my wife, who I actually met, she was an executive producer, she couldn't do it anymore because of the, stories about a child found dead or it just got to her. She just didn't like it. I didn't have to deal with it, and I'm glad I didn't. So I'm glad I got into the toy department early on and stayed in there. But I respect those who have to cover, think about that. I always thought about it when I would see like Mike Helgren, great reporter at Channel 13. He'd have to go knock on the door of a home where somebody lost somebody to murder or whatever. It's like, I couldn't do it.
Yeah. You had talked earlier about your transition to Baltimore, and you basically, when you come out of college, what was your aspirations first? Like when you said, okay, I have this degree now.
Yeah.
The doors are open wide for me.
Yeah.
Where did you want to go as a 22-year-old?
22-year-old kid.
Yeah.
I'd have gone anywhere.
Okay.
Among those I recall specifically, I applied for a job in Harlingen, Texas, Eau Claire, Wisconsin, Macon, Georgia, Savannah, Georgia, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. These are sports jobs I applied for that I didn't get. that I was heartbroken with every rejection letter that I got back from having sent them my demo tape, and they didn't want me. I'm like, oh man, I saved those as like, and then Cedar Rapids, Iowa was the one that hired me. I'd have gone anywhere. It didn't matter to me. I just wanted to get in. And none of those jobs paid very much.